Hey everybody, it's Rob here. So with Season 5, Blizzard is introducing even more caps into Diablo 4. You may have seen it here in the patch notes, or you may have experienced it already on the PTR server that we had for Season 5. And things like, Hemorrhage, things like Thunderstruck, a lot of passives are getting capped, and there already are a bunch of existing caps in the game. And I personally do not really like this way of balancing the game. And I think it's limiting build choices. And in this video, I want to get into how and why I think that is. And I also think we should rather have soft caps, such as they did with the All-Res, rather than these hard caps that they did with the armor, for example, or that they are doing with the Paragon nodes here. Let's look into it here. The new caps that are coming, or that already exist in Diablo at the moment, is we have attack speed caps. So that means our main attack speed is capped at 100%. And our second attack speed is capped at 100%. We have the armor cap, 9,230. We know about this one. We have cooldown capped at 75. We have the size of things capped. We have a movement speed cap at 100% bonus. And basically stacking more doesn't do any good. We have a gold cap that has now been increased, so that's really cool. We have a cap on materials stacking. So you guys can see here in the game, I open my inventory, man, some of these materials, they stack to 20. And some others, man, they stack to 50, and some others, they stack to 99. And that's just really strange. We have an Obolt's cap. It got increased now, but I think it's still too low. And we have, for example, things like Grim Favor caps. So we have these 5 out of 10 Grim Favors. And whenever you're playing in the Helltide, you're blasting a bunch of Whispers. And you always have to go to the tree here and basically go through multiple loading screens. And it just gets really annoying and frustrating to me. We also have a res cap, and I think the res cap here is one of the very good examples how caps should or could work. Why you see here in the game, my res is soft capped at 70. We have multiple ways of increasing the soft cap, right? We can just drink a Soothing Spice, or we can use a Tyrael Smite to increase the max resistance. So this is a soft cap of 70, but it's not hard capped at 70. And I think this is a way better approach to things. If you compare it, for example, to the armor cap, there are things in the game, like Juggernaut, that give you 15k armor. And man, when your armor cap is just 9,230, what's the point of this aspect? And there's not really any reason to stack more armor because it's basically hard capped. And I think this is mainly, capping the fun and also capping the build diversity. So the caps that are coming in Season 5 are caps to the Paragon nodes. So we're getting on Druid, we're getting the Thunderstruck cap. It's nerfing and changing a lot of builds, especially the Lightning builds. On Necromancer, we're getting the Wither cap, and this is just 1,200. The cap is insanely low, here 40%. People have been reaching 300% with this on the live game. We have a Burning Instinct cap coming. We have the Elemental Summoner cap already in the game. We have a Hemorrhage cap on the Barb coming for the bleeds. And we already have a Blood Rage cap in the game right now. And these caps, in my opinion, just limit build diversity. Because, at the moment, I'm just going to make the Barb as an example. Because we have played a lot of Barb and I know a lot about the Barb. So at the moment, there is a huge debate and a huge theory crafting, and you're going very deep into the build because you want to understand how much crit damage you want versus how much vulnerable damage and how much crit chance you want. So there is a certain way of balancing your stats. You have a lot of player and build choice with your stats and your items to kind of min-max your build. Rather than next season when everything is just capped. So you just know you need to stack 350 vulnerable, and then you can forget about it. Just the way that you stack 300% berserking, and then you forget about it. And I think that's just limiting build choices, and it's also limiting, the way we can approach and build characters. Eventually, if this is coming to the extreme, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later, we're all going to end up playing exactly the same build with exactly the same stats. And this has already happened in a way. Basically, every Barb build is stacking the Berserking. So I don't know why I chose to not stack it. But every build is basically stacking Blood Rage here. So you want to have this 300% Berserking. And that's it. You never want to get any more Berserking again. Because essentially, this multiplier is a hard cap. Like going beyond 300 doesn't give you anything for the Blood Rage anymore. You're getting like a slight amount of additive damage, but this is completely irrelevant with all the additive damage that you already have. So I think this is like one of the examples that is, you know, just not fun. And people have been building like all these like calculators here, you know, to see the optimal crit, vulnerable damage ratio, and like all these kind of factors that affect this. But like by just capping the vulnerable, like all of this, you know, theory crafting, all of this build diversity just goes out the window. Like you're just gonna stack 350 vulnerable and then you're gonna forget about it, just like has been happened with the Blood Rage node. So how cool would it be if Blood Rage would be like a soft cap rather than a hard cap and like diminish? Like if you're getting more than, you know, 300% berserking damage, you would still get a benefit, but the benefit wouldn't be as big. Because then you could make an argument, well, you know, on my stuff, like do I want crit damage, do I want vulnerable damage, or do I want berserking damage? And that just like, you know, lets the build diversity thrive even more. And we just don't have this at the moment. And I also wonder like where this is going to go next, because people have already been, you know, very vocal about caps to key passives now as well. So, you know, you have the Gushing Wounds, for example, on the Barb, that doesn't have a cap at the moment. So people are having a lot of fun with it. But there's already people that basically like talk about like, yeah, maybe this should be capped as well. And I don't know, like there's other key passives like Close Quarters, which is basically scaling your crowd controlled. There's other key passives like Victimize, which is scaling your vulnerable damage. And I don't know where this is going to lead, like this, like, you know, approach to balance by just capping everything and capping the fun, you know? Like, what are we going to get next? Like a key passive cap? We're going to get a main stat cap or something, maybe even a life cap, because, like, I don't know, people complain that Druids and Barb can have like 200,000 life or something, right? And I think it's just like not a cool direction that the game is taken. And I just want to, you know, empathize this in this video. I definitely agree that, you know, Blood Rage and Hemorrhage and Thunderstruck, like, they had to come down. But I don't think they had to come down crashing like this. Like, I just feel there's no middle ground. With Thunderstruck, for example, it is, like, negatively impacting all the lightning builds. And you can get so much close and damage versus distance with the tampering. And I think it would be way cooler that instead of capping it at 40, maybe make it scale, you know, with less efficiency after 40. And I'm going to get into that in a bit, what I mean by that exactly. And there's just, like, also here for Wither, man, 1,200 intelligence. Like, that's, like, such a low cap. Or 9,000 armor. It's, like, such a low cap to reach. And I think we need more interesting caps like what they did with resistances, where we actually have a soft cap and then mechanics to, you know, keep increasing that cap. So yeah, eventually, I think everybody will just end up with the same build, you know. Step 1, you cap your res. Step 2, you cap your armor. Step 3, you cap, this is on Barb, 300 berserking. Step 4, you cap 350 vulnerable. And then step 5, well, maybe right now we're still scaling crit chance. Next is, we're gonna be capping our crit damage at, I don't know, like 1,000% for the Gushing Wounds, and then we are also capped there. And it just like, man, it just like destroys the diversity and destroys the fun for me. So I think there could be good ideas here of like diminishing stuff, for example, with armor. And these are just random numbers, guys, right? We could like discuss any numbers here. But, you know, 9k armor, okay, or 9,200, whatever. This one gives you 85% DR. But then there should still be, you know, a benefit of stacking more armor, in my opinion. This would, like, you know, positively impact build diversity and also makes aspects such as Juggernaut here, which gives you 15k armor when I'm just equipping this. But it's just all useless, you know, have some sort of reason to exist. Same goes for, like, you know, the percent armor roll that you can get on your items, or the percent armor temper rolls that you can get, or just the armor rolls in general, or also the armor nodes in Paragon. Because right now, they're all useless, because it feels like this 9,230 armor cap is just so low and so easy to reach. The same, by the way, is true for the movement speed. You know, we have our movement speed kept at 100% bonus. But there's like basically every class has ways to get way past this cap. And so I have 166 right now here with my Barb, and we could go, you know, Rallying Cry alone would already give us 30%. So we would already be at 196. And then we have, for example, things like Berserking, which gives us another movement speed of 15%. So we're already 10 over cap. And then we have another one here that can give us 25. So We are at like, you know, 240 movement, 240, 230, 240 movement speed. But this is like just irrelevant, basically, for most builds. And I just feel like this caps is just like not cool for the game. Same for the attack speed. I mean, maybe there should be some cap, but this caps should be way higher and not reachable by just rolling armor on one item, for example, right? And same for the size. Like, I really like the way it was on the PTR, where you could have just some crazy size, you know. As long as it's not lagging people's game, like having the size is fun, and you can, you know, get a size roll on like, you know, like one item or something that already exceeds 100%. So there's just a lot of things here that could be different. Or the same is here, for example, for Blood Rage. I have like 2 examples here. It could go like this, right? 300% berserking, you get your 1.3, and then it diminishes. Like, you get half the value, you know, for the next 300, and you get another half the value for the next, you know, doubling of the effect. I mean, it could go like this, it could go like this, whatever, you know, they want to balance it around. But like this, you know, there would still be a way to, or still be a reason to stack more berserking for this Blood Rage node, rather than, you know, just ignoring it afterwards. And I'm not sure where this is going to lead, like if we just going to keep getting more and more caps, because I've been talking with a lot of people in the community, and yeah, like the caps, man, it just feels like capping the fun out of the game. And I agree we need balancing, and I agree some of these nodes needed to come down. But I don't agree on the hard cap, and I would very much like to see much more of the way that the resistances works. And yeah, some conclusions, again, like existing caps should be lower in general, soft caps rather than hard caps, and even a better communication would help a lot. Like, I don't even know, like the tooltips or something, like they don't give us any information on armor. They fixed it now, right? Like, it's finally on the tooltip. It wasn't before, so that's a good change. But some tooltips, I think movement speed has it, but some tooltips, I think it's attack speed or something. Like, you just don't know about these caps, and then there's like these different categories. I don't think I have any attack speed bonuses. Like, they just don't even tell you about it. Like, you have no idea that you can only stack, you know, 100% attack speed in this category and 100% attack speed in that category. So yeah, I think coming this all together here, I just feel like the direction with all these hard caps, and that's the way that the balancing is done, at least that affects it in a major way. I just think for me is just not a fun way, and also not a healthy way, I think, long term to balance the game, because it kills build diversity, and at the end, we'll just end up playing exactly the same, and everybody just goes with armor cap, everybody just goes with, you know, cap on vulnerable, everybody goes with cap on crit, everybody goes with crit on berserk, cap on berserking, and eventually, all the Barbarian builds, for example here, because that's the class I play the most, will be the same. I mean, they already are in a way. Like, everybody just stacks 300 berserking damage, and the next patch, all the bleed builds are just gonna stack 350 burn damage. And I think it gets pretty boring, super cookie cutter. And I think, like, with the example that they have given on itemization in regards to the Talbot's Will, I thought they don't really, like, you know, want these kind of things. They don't want these kind of things on items, and I also don't think it's healthy for the game to have these kind of things, you know, for paragons, for skills, for aspects. And yeah, all these existing caps, like, they could just be made into so much more fun if we could just like carry more Grim Favors, if they could streamline the caps on all the materials. Like, why don't they just all stack to 9,999 and then we don't have this mess in our inventory or something, right? Like, there's just so many things I think that could be improved, like, without crazy amount of work. And yeah, just make soft caps rather than hard caps. That would be awesome. That's my 2 cents, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know this is probably a controversial topic. I just don't like being capped with the abilities of what I can do and how I can make my builds and how build diversity works. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you soon. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.